G'day everybody, Duckville here. Welcome to a Zerg vs Protoss cast that we've got. Latest patch, I believe. I can't actually remember if this one is in the latest patch, but I'm pretty sure it is. Which of course just went live about a day and a half ago. It is now the 13th of November, and we'll see how this one goes. It is on Akalon Waste, of course, a map that has been around for quite a while now. Many people surprised that this map has not disappeared from the map pool. It can be a little bit of a challenging one for Zerg players, but we'll see how challenging it is for our young Zerg player down here in the bottom right-hand side from New Zealand, and one of the star Zerg players in the C region. It is Frenetic Array's Petraeus. And he's, as I said, a really high-quality Zerg player. Competed in the Challenger League in WCS NA just recently. Unfortunately, fell down when he lost a couple of games to Alive and then Apocalypse. He did take out Apocalypse before that, though, so it was a little bit of a tough Terran matchup there for young Petraeus. His opponent up at the top left-hand side as our blue Protoss player. Lives in Singapore, of German and Chinese descent here. It is young Blysk, who is from Team Flash over in Singapore. Basically one of Singapore's best Protoss players there. As I said, he's another really high quality player in the C region, pretty much with one of our other Australian Protoss players, Light, retiring from the scene. Blysk is definitely up there as one of the top players that we have here locally in C. So it is a bit of a C battle. It is a match from ladder. It looks as if Blysk may be attempting a little bit of cannon rush, possible, shenaniganery here, but sees that an Overlord was there. Petraeus keeping an eye on what is going on, but yeah, as I was sort of mentioning, these two just encountering on ladder, both of them GM quality players. I believe they're... oh, actually, hang on, this can't be from the latest patch, because they were both... their little icons were actually showing that they were in GM. So it must be just a couple of days ago, actually, because this one came through to me just now. So we'll see that Blysk is going to open up with a forge into the Nexus, threatening the possibility of some cannon rushing down here at either the natural or at the third base even. You see some players will sometimes throw down a pylon here, and then you can put a cannon just off to the side and then try and, make your way up and be very annoying here at the natural base. But Blysk is not going to do anything of the sort here this time. He's just going to open up nice and standard here. Gateway will go down, a cannon as well to make sure his front door is all protected, and Petraeus will see this and he'll be like, alright, cool, we got a gateway, we got a cannon. He's not really going to be putting too much pressure on at my base, so it's free time to get a queen out, get just a couple of lings to poke around and check where that scouting probe went, and then after that we'll just see probably a lot of drones from Petraeus here. So Blysk is a player. I have done quite a few commentaries of Blysk. Just to clarify as well, it says that his clan is the APT clan. It's that's a clan that he sort of is a bit of a stand-in for. He'll jump in and help out when they're having some team fights and that kind of thing. So he'll help out the APT team, but he is part of Team Flash. So just to sort of clarify that one for you. So Petraeus is a player who has just wonderfully solid kind of standard play. You're not going to see him do crazy stuff where he goes out and does like I don't know, like a one base Nidus mass queen. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something ridiculous that you would never ever see. He's not a player who plays flashy kind of stuff like cats or something like that with proxy hatcheries and 5 hatch before pool kind of stuff. But in terms of solid mechanics, this is one of the best players you will ever get to see. He's very, very clean, very good with his scouting as well. Always keeping an eye on what his opponent is up to. And one thing you do normally see for Petraeus is these lings will normally be scouting around to try and find any proxy pylons, but for the moment his Overlord is going to be this Overlord will be just poking around the side here. This other one is just across to this side as well. We'll be keeping an eye out for any of those the probes that like to come out and put down some proxy pylons when you do get a player going for something akin to the Immortal Sentry or some kind of big gateway based play. But Blysk is not going to be doing anything of the sort here in this game so far. He's finished up a Stargate, which will just be cranking out a Phoenix here in a second. In fact, the Overlord is just missing out on scouting that one, little bit unfortunate there for Petraeus, so he's not going to know exactly what's going on just for the time being, but once that first Phoenix pops out and heads across to kill off the Overlords, you can be sure that he will be able to identify what is going on. We'll probably see a couple of Spore Crawlers inside the various mineral lines of Petraeus. Just wait for the reaction here. Is he going to? You'll probably see maybe just one inside the third, inside the natural, and then maybe one here at the main, possibly, depending on how many Phoenix he can see coming out from his opponent. Of course, this has been a very dynamic kind of thing from many Protoss players. Is they'll start up, you know, you can see players get one Phoenix, you can, and then force out the possibility of you know, some harassment coming out with the Phoenix, but he has actually gotten Petraeus to start up a couple of Spore Crawlers. Yeah, they will go inside inside the mineral lines just to you know, make sure that he is quite safe here. But Petraeus is going to continue to drone up for the time being. He's up to a total of 61. And as I was saying, some players do continue to go up to 3, 4, and then 5 Phoenix. It really depends, but a lot of the standard these days is to go to sort of 3 or 4. Some players will go to 5 and then just sort of switch things up a little bit, but it really does depend on how aggressive you want to be, what kind of opening you're doing behind this. As we can see, Blysk is going to take us towards a third base very quickly here. He threw that down at around about, I think that must have been around about the 8-minute mark. I didn't see the exact timing. But he will have he gets a couple of kills here, takes out an Overlord, then we'll move across and take out one of these Queens. She's a little bit out of position here, but of course it does take 4 Phoenix to lift, with 1 lift to be able to kill off a Queen. If you have 5, the Queen will go down a lot quicker, but he should be able to come through, and Blysk is getting a little bit of damage done. Not a huge amount of workers killed here, but one of the Phoenix will die off, which is a little bit unfortunate. He'll also be able to scout out that the 4th base is now coming up from Petraeus. So Petraeus reacting to the fact that he can see his opponent picking up a 3rd base. As a Zerg player, you need to be very careful about dealing with a Protoss who gets their 3rd base up and gets it up safely, because there are all sorts of pushes that can come along. You can get, you know, Colossus and gateway-based pushes that can come out very quickly and are very threatening there if they can, you know, continue to force field well and get their Colossi out in good positions. You can also have just the possible threats of playing out a little bit more of a macro game, picking up a 2nd Stargate or something like that, getting some Void Rays, and just playing a very safe style, which to me is a very common thing we get to see out of Blysk when he does play. Not one to be over greedy or anything like that. We won't see him go for too many big gateway-based pushes. As we can see, he's just going to add on a couple more gates here at the main base, so it will take him to a total of 5 gates at the moment, which is just a very nice passive kind of style for the moment here from the Protoss. Now, as I said, as a Zerg, when you see the 3rd base go up relatively quickly, you want to make a couple of decisions. Do I get some mutas out? Do I get some, you know, do I go to a hive very quickly to try and get out the Vipers, which are just absolutely required when it comes to defending against 3-base Protoss pushes? But here for Petraeus, he's actually going to get some Corruptors out and head up to what looks to be a Corruptor muta composition. This will be a very, very interesting little tactic here from Petraeus. This is something which is extremely powerful. You can never underestimate the power of the Muta Corruptor force, and we'll see how Blysk reacts to that. He is going to get up a 2nd Stargate. We see the Fleet Beacon will go down as well, just to give his Phoenix a little bit of range once he gets the Anion Pulse Crystals up and running. And we will, well, it looks as if it is going to go for a big air fight here between these 2 players. Petraeus Fleet free to expand. He knows that he is going to have a lot of map control with these mutas out, so he is free to expand across, and he will come across and take out quite a few of these probes inside the main mineral line of Blysk. Just completely out of position here is Blysk. He will send across a couple of these Phoenix. Their Anion Pulse Crystals is not done yet. Keep in mind, the Fleet Beacon has only just finished up, so he'll have to be very careful with the micro of these units. We can see that Petraeus is going to be careful himself, backing off. He knows that the Phoenix can easily snipe down some of these mutas until the muta count gets to something around about, I'm pretty sure it's around about the lines of like 2025 is when you can actually start sort of trying to compete in some of these battles with the Phoenix. But having the Corruptors there is also an added bonus of this kind of style. The Corruptors are very tanky. They can put in a lot of damage on Phoenix. If you throw out a Corruption and then get a couple of shots off, a Phoenix does go down very quickly to Corruptors. So Petraeus is going to continue to add the Corruptors into his unit mixture here as we continue to push along. It looks like the mutas have found their way in towards the 3rd base of Blysk. No real shield defense, but the Phoenix will come along. Keep in mind that Anion Pulse Crystals is just about to finish up as well. +1 to weapons is also on the way for Blysk, but a big run by from Petraeus now heads in towards the main base here. Going to split up some of the lanes. Some will head inside the main base. We'll try and target down. It looks like they're trying to target down the fleet beacon, but the rest of the lanes will now head in towards the natural, and we'll get some damage done here. But Petraeus continuing to harass here with these mutas, not getting a huge amount of damage done, but has killed off a bunch of workers here. The links inside the main base are still getting some work done. They did take out the fleet beacon, but not before Anion Pulse Crystals was finished off. So that means that Blysk is going to be the biggest sigh probably from Blysk here, as he did get that upgrade finished up. But Petraeus, he is going to switch things up a little bit. We've got the Banelings now morphing in. Baneling speed is just about done. +2 on melee attacks is also just on the way. The mutas will continue to ravage this main base here, diving inside, taking out 1, 2, and then 3 cannons, I would assume, but the Phoenix count has now risen to a very dangerous total, especially with their +1 weapons. We can see there are 12 Phoenix now, absolutely annihilating the mutas anytime they come in range, and the Corruptors will do their best to try and act as bodyguards. This is what you will normally see, is a player will just sort of sit their Corruptors in front to try and keep the Phoenix back, as the mutas will either try and escape or perhaps try and come into the battle. But Petraeus has been having a little bit of a hard time here, as the Phoenix count has gotten very, very high and continues to grow. The double star gates will continue to push them out. And one thing I do want to point to is that Blysk did not rebuild his fleet beacon. He's just let it go. He got the upgrade for the Phoenix, and that's all that he needs at this point. So all that he doesn't need to reinvest the gas into the fleet beacon at all. Costs a ridiculous amount of gas to build a fleet beacon. If I remember correctly, it's like 200 gas for that upgrade, which is I personally think it's pretty crazy, considering that, you know, when do people ever get it? But anyway, mutas are going to bounce around now inside the main base. It looks like we are going to have a little, well, it looks like Petraeus is going to attempt to get some huge damage done. Takes out one of the Stargates. Some Lings will also make their way inside the natural base, but a nice wall off here from Blysk sort of prevents some of the Lings from getting inside easily. The cannons should be able to hold off quite a lot of those units. Now, the dance in the sky here, the Phoenix, will they be able to take out the mutas? Of course, the Corruptors off to the side as well. More Corruptors coming in from the back end, and now the Phoenix is starting to corner and are starting to really eliminate these air foes that they have with the +1 on their attacks. The Phoenix are going to do huge amounts of damage, especially when they're grouped up and controlled correctly. I'll get it out there eventually. And now we can see that the mutas pet has just decided, wow, he's just sort of given up on that fight. The Corruptors are going to try and target down some of the Phoenix, but they will be annihilated themselves. 2 Colossus are gracing the field here with their little dainty little legs, and now we can see that Blysk has started to take a bit of control here now. We'll probably see him look to take his 4th base very soon. In fact, there it is, beautifully timed out for Blysk there, and now he's going to push forwards, and we'll try and get some damage done on Petraeus' 4th base. He needs to be able to get some work done, because Petraeus has gotten his macro into good position, but his drone count is still looking good as well. And in come the Lings and the Banelings, but a wonderful set of force fields redesigns the map there in favor of Blysk. Look at this, just a wonderful wall just cutting off all of that region, meaning those Banelings were not able to get anything done, despite having some Baneling speed rolling along the creep there. Petraeus was not able to get any real work done. He's going to now try and come in from 2 sides here. Will Blysk be able to force field this off correctly? It looks like one part does. The second part almost force fielded off. One of the Colossi will go down, and that means that Blysk loses a little bit of his power here. Now keep in mind, he does not have a reinforcing pylon or anything like that, so he cannot bring in more units. This is probably the last possible push he can make here. So once these units start to fall, then Blysk will have to head back to the drawing board. But he has taken out the 4th base, a bunch of the drones that were here as well, but they have been rebuilt pretty quickly. In fact, some of the drones just camping off to the side there, they decided to stay out of the battle. They're pacifist drones for the moment, so they will stay alive for the moment, and that gives Petraeus, that keeps him up at 82 drones, so he's not exactly doing bad himself in terms of economy. He'll be very happy with that. Has lots of gas coming in. He's now going to try and remax on some Hydras. We've got the Hydra Muscular Augmentation now coming in, +1 on missile attacks is just being upgraded right now, and Carapace. So the upgrades for Petraeus are a little bit behind because he had to invest in these air upgrades. Flyer attacks, of course, are upgraded. The Baneling speed is also there as well, but it doesn't really augment these Hydras just yet. Once they have +2 on Carapace, they'll be feeling a little bit better, but their attacks is where it really counts. And when you're up against a player who is still able to get some Colossi out and is now starting to raise the gateway count, we can see that Blysk will have to be very careful though, because his opponent is morphing in more Banelings, and I think with the Ventral Sax upgrade, yeah, we may get some Bane Rain coming out of Petraeus here. We'll see if he can pull that into effect. He does have this, what is now effectively a 5th base up towards the top position here, still bringing in lots of gas from his, what is now his 4th base, but his main is now mined out. The natural is looking a little bit low as well, and things are getting, well, Petraeus is now starting to move those overlords into position, but the upgrades are still coming. I think he's going to wait just a moment here until some more upgrades are done. Of course, we do need the Guru Spines upgrade ready for those Hydras. You can't just send them into battle without that extra range. It's kind of pointless to send them in like that. So he's going to wait a little bit here until the pneumatic carapace is pneumatized carapace, sorry, is up and running. He'll get a couple more of those extra upgrades ready to go, and then we'll probably see Petraeus look to push out. But Blysk, he is already up to his Storm Tech, just about to get that online. A Dark Shrine is also being added into the mix. This 3rd base is very well protected with the cannons that are here, and I believe, where is the Mothership Core? Mothership Core is just hanging out here at the 4th base, so he's just waiting for the possibility of some more mutas coming through, but he should know. I believe there was an observer sitting here at the natural base, but here comes Petraeus. One thing I do love to see from Petraeus is he is very good at splitting up and setting up concaves, so what we'll probably see from him is something to that effect. The Bane Rain is ready to go, but Petraeus, yeah, he's sort of, this little cliff here actually sort of blocks off some of the area, but now he's going to move in. We do get a relatively good concave there from Petraeus, but unfortunately the force fields were pretty good, but an Archon at the front is able to block off a lot of that. The Bane Rain is not getting any real damage done. These Stalkers with plus, well, they don't have any upgrades, I should say, but they are able to blink around and move out of position here, and Petraeus just suffers at the wrath of these Blink Stalkers. They've got +2 on their upgrades. They're heading towards +3 very soon, I would assume, with a Warp Prism from Blysk has headed in towards the main base. Going to drop in some DTs, going to drop in some Zealots. The Hive is not going to happen here. It is still a lair, in fact, for Petraeus, so he's been sitting there on the Mutatech for quite a while now, and he has resupplied himself on these mutas. As we can see, some Corruptors also came out. I think Petraeus was possibly looking for another switch back into the air tech here, but unfortunately the mutas have been running through quite a lot of the Stalkers there and of getting pounded by all of those Stalkers there. The +2 really helping out those Stalkers, and not to mention with Blink Tech available, he can blink away from these Lings on the ground, and it looks as if Petraeus is in a world of hurt here. The Corruptors, unfortunately, not really able to do too much apart from throwing down a little bit of corruption action here. 20% extra damage. It still baffles me that many players forget to use that. But Zealots have made their way across to the Spire here. The Spire in dire straits. It is about to fall down. As we can see, the Zealots just going to work there, and they have taken that out. There was an upgrade on the way. I think that was +1 to the Flyer Carapace, but Petraeus, I'm sure he knows he's already in a little bit of trouble now that he's lost his lair. There is he morphing in another lair somewhere? I don't think so, no. Looks like we don't have another lair coming in from Petraeus. I'm not sure whether he has forgotten it or if the spawning... No, the spawning pool's still up and running, so... It looks as if Petraeus is getting a little bit stuck with this tech at the moment. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of air, and a lot of Hydras are starting to come back onto the field. But with these Stalkers now roaming around, where are the upgrades from Blysk? I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't picked up a few more upgrades as well, but it is all good. He is still continuing to dominate the field here. DT's on the ground protecting the Stalkers. They will slowly blink back, and are continuing to take out some of the units that are roaming around. But Petraeus, well, his economy is still not too bad. I mean, he's still got lots of drones bringing in lots of minerals and that kind of thing, but he has lost his lair. He's lost a little bit of tech as well. There we go. The lair is now coming back into effect. Where did that Warp Prism go? I think he lost it. So Blysk is well, I mean, he's got all the tech available to him. He just needs to put his army together, and then he can probably just roll over what Petraeus has left. Speaking of rolling, a single Baneling is now coming across, looking to just hang off to the side for a minute there, but the Hydras will have some Stalkers on their back. We can see that they will blink forwards. The Baneling will come across and do a little bit of damage, but not enough. DT's now chasing after Hydras to the side. The Mutas are still coming along, getting some work done. They will take out the Nexus. Nicely done by Petraeus to snipe that one down. All that he's doing at the moment is trying to buy himself some more time. He really needs to be able to get his lair, and I would love to see a switch over into Hive, but he's just struggling at the moment. Some of the drones inside the main base are now starting to go down. Blysk has restarted his Phoenix production. We've got a total of 5 out at the moment. A few more are on the way, but Petraeus, what is he going to be able to do here? We will see Petraeus attempting to run away, but a blink forwards from Blysk is able to snipe down some of the units, and I think this may be the final push coming out here from Blysk. He's got Archons, he's got a few DTs strewn in there as well, and a lot of those Blink Stalkers. The +3 for their weapons is on the way. There is a Colossus just sitting back at home. He's just chilling out. He doesn't really care about this big battle that's about to happen on across over on the other side of the map. Hydras and Banes are still prepared to roll here for Petraeus, and we'll see if he is able to get some work done here. Of course, keep in mind, Archons are just incredible when it comes to tanking up Banelings. The Overlords now pushing forwards. They're going to try and drop down some Banelings on top of those Blink Stalkers, but unfortunately not enough here for Petraeus. I think that will be the last of him as his Hydra suits start to fall down. DT's doing excellent work there as well, and that will be it for Petraeus. So GG, and he jumps out here in this really interesting PvZ match between these two C stars, and hope you all enjoy the game. Please do jump on to facebook.com/duckfield.casting. You can catch all information and funky stuff there over on the Facebook page, and I'll catch you all next time. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units, and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really nicely there. And for minigun, he's been sticking with a much more